Okay. I also didn't get to see this, and they've been promoting this for a while. They're doing some
I would put $10,000 on line
sponsored,
if you can ever beat me in Street
some sponsored thing between Mena and Justin Wong.
I will put $1,000 on the line if you can beat me in Street Fighter 4.
Right now?
Yeah, right now. I would put,
I'm down.
I'm down too.
I'm down. Let's do it.
I would put $10,000 on the line if you can ever beat me in Street Fighter 3.
I'm Tasty Steve. This is MenaRD.
Stare down, baby. MenaRD, Evo Japan champion.
This is Justin Wong.
8-time Evo champion, bro.
Justin Wong, once again, at the top.
They really showed him getting parried,
Two
bro.
legends
Come
of
on.
the FGC are sitting down face to face to debate the hottest topics, and I'll be deciding the winner of each round. Let's face off. Do you guys believe that Prime Justin Wong would be able to beat Prime Mena? I am going to start with Mena.
I think it depends on the game.
Duh. What the fuck? What kind of question is this?
I'm talking Street Fighter. I'm talking Street Fighter.
I think with the knowledge I have now, Justin, he, of course, he's a legend. He has a chance. He has a chance, of course, to beat me. But I will say, with the knowledge I have now, even in Street Fighter 4, I will win. That's what I think.
Oh, I think that's cap, personally.
Are given because in 5 he stopped midway and all of that. I kept going. 6 he's not competing.
Bro, he picked some really cheap shit in 4, man.
3, I'm not sure. I've never played that game, but who knows?
You're not beating him in 3, bro. I get four is like I don't know. Yeah, I don't think you're beating him in 4 either, bro.
Right now?
Yeah, right now. I would put. I'm down too.
I think if they ran a gauntlet where they played every mainline Street Fighter game, I think Justin would win. Like, well, you'd probably win most of them. Like if they played all 6 mainline Street Fighter games, I think Justin probably wins 4. Probably wins 4 of the 6.
I would put $10,000 on the line if you can ever beat me in Street Fighter 3. In Street Fighter 5, I beat him multiple times.
Oh shit!
Beat me multiple times.
Oh okay. They were back and forth in 5.
Played. Like I said, I don't play, but I watch him so much that I know his weaknesses.
Oh, okay.
I know his weaknesses, and every time I'm like watching it, I can guess right on what he's going to do. Even though people are saying he's unpredictable, but like for example, if he plays Blanca, the chances of him holding up back to do OD airball is so high. At least 70%. Look, he's laughing. He knows. 70% of the time. And you don't know. You stopping me?
I'm not stopping.
Okay.
I'm not stopping.
70%.
The rules. That was something right now.
70% of the time. 70% of the time. So the fact that all these newer players are so dumb to try to keep grabbing him in the corner, it makes no sense. Because I'm like, bro, can we get the meaty crouch heavy punch? You know, just give him a meaty jump. You know, a meaty, just so he can not hold up back anymore. And you know
my god.
Who does it right? Fudo, the DJs. That's why the DJs cook him right now.
Oh.
Right? Because they get hit by the crouching heavy punch every single day. So, in my opinion, I think if I was playing, I see weaknesses so prominently, even now as a commentator, that I would be able to enforce it if I was in my prime self.
Don't be invoking commentators over here, bro. You know what I do for a living, all right? I saw what you did there. I'm gonna strike that last one from the record. Strike that last line from the record. I ain't like how you did that. Mena, what's up?
Look, as he talked about my weakness, like I grew up watching fighting games too, right?
Talk to me.
You only said Street Fighter, I will also beat him at Marvel. And you know why? These players were so dumb, they never blocked low.
Mena, bro. Out of respect for how godlike Mena is, like, I'm not gonna give him 0% chance in any Street Fighter game, because obviously the dude, he knows what the fuck he's doing. Marvel? Bro, this is Marvel. This is the Do you know who you're talking to, bro?
Always went low. That's all.
You're getting cooked, bro.
Always went low. Like that's it. Even if the assist is there, he's never gonna go high. He's never gonna press the launcher and hit you overhead. So I know all he did with Rufus. I know all he did too. Like it's just a lane player trying to go back. He's never gonna really interact. With this new game, so you think he's really gonna guess right? Justin Wong, come on, man. Like.
Do you think he's gonna guess right?
Oh my God, it was so salty. Oh my God. Bro, wait a minute. He said, I watched the tape. I'm going to hold this down because that's not my vote. He said,
That's so
he's
funny,
I'm
bro.
watching the tapes. I know he's going to do up ball with Blanca. My man said, I watched the Marvel tapes. They never block low. Look, all right, look. Oh my God. I'm gonna be real. This is a really hard question. If I had to say prime Justin, look, we talking nostalgia. I gotta go with Justin.
That's facts.
I gotta go.
That's
I'm
facts.
sorry, you know I love you.
It's all good.
But
It's
I
a
gotta
legend.
go with the nostalgia, bro.
I'm just saying the next video for Face Off, we do the first to 10 for
The
Street
first
Fighter
to
4.
the
Yes,
first
do
to
it.
10.
First to
Street
10
Fighter
for
4.
Street Fighter 4. We gotta do it.
This is content in the making right here. Content in the making. Being on these
This
big
is like-
stages, you guys have seen them both.
This is like that meme where they talk about the best fighting game player in modern times versus the best fighting game player of all time type shit. That's like what we're looking at right now. It's like these two are both in that argument. they're both in this conversation, and it's like the further you go back, the less chance you have. I think you got to
both
keep it to
sides
the
of
modern shit,
And
bro.
I have seen them personally because I've been on stages with both of you after winning. Who has the greatest pop-offs in victory? I'm gonna start with you. Talk to me.
Overall, or
Overall,
between
between
us
you
two?
and Justin, if you win, who's gonna have the greater pop-off?
I think overall, like consistency-wise, pop off. Like,
That's an interesting
I pop
question.
Off more often, I pop off more aggressively.
Yeah. Oh, yeah,
And I have the some, the cutthroat. You know, I do have.
yeah,
I
you
had
be
my own
going
like
off,
jump.
you be
Yeah,
going
I
off.
have the pop offs consistency, but he does have the most legendary.
The
ones.
role
He
is
actually, like,
legendary.
fracture, Like I don't know.
I'm not
he
trying
messed
to
himself.
laugh. I promise
he
I'm not
messed
laughing.
himself up. So his pop offs are not really like crazy, but then he has that one. Like he went crazy and roll.
Now the best Justin Wong pop up, like everyone remembers the role,
Wise, I'm known as
and
the
rightfully
known
so.
pop-off,
But I think
but he has that.
maybe his best or second best pop off
Yeah, I
is
want that on the- I want that
in
on
an
the-
exhibition match
I'm a
against
known
Sanford
pop-off.
Kelly
Look, I
in
want
Street
y'all to
Fighter
know I'm
4.
actually adding my 2 cents
At
to
it like an
this, but Justin,
NEC,
go
it
off,
was
talk
like
to me, bro.
20.
So I like Mena's pop off.
I wanna say, like, 2014,
When he hit the-
some shit.
Yeah, so
Bro, I was like, oh,
It's
am I
so
Dominican?
good.
Oh, I wanna-
My man was
I'm
talking the
on
talk,
him.
bro.
so good. But my thing about his pop-offs is that he usually, it's not close sets. He just wins and dominates and just pops off. That doesn't count as a pop-off. My pop-offs were like me beating Chris G, who has won all these tournaments. He was the favorite to win. That was a pop-off. There was the 1 year you commentated when I made the comeback against Chris G in 2013. I heard your voice like Justin Wong. Like that was a pop-off. That was a hard-earned pop-off.
Yes.
So I personally think I have hard-earned pop-offs because I make crazy comebacks. While Mena pop-offs, he pops off, he pops
Dominant
off often,
victories.
dominant victories. So I think my pop-offs mean a lot, and that's why he mentioned the barrel roll. Even though it's funny, I didn't fracture my leg though, you know what I mean?
But I didn't
it
fracture
went
my
numb. It went
leg.
numb, but yeah, that's how I feel about it.
Okay, bro.
So, all right, look, before we move on to the next one, I want you to know you can check the footage, bro. Bro, I was behind you, bro. It took a lot for me not to just die laughing. But the roll off, when you hit the roll, the artist roll, I was like, that is the most masterful. I wanted to
The roll
applaud you, but I just wanted you to know
is so
I'm never gonna
godlike
forget
because
that
I'm
day in
pretty
my
sure
life. I gotta go
that he got the idea from
with
Marn.
the barrel roll, bro. So I'm gonna say Justin. It don't matter who's right on this. I'm gonna just say that barrel roll lives free in my head. For
Damn,
the
man is
rest
getting
of
cooked
my
right
life.
now. Hold on. He down
I
2-0?
feel like one of the most.
It's a problem, bro.
Everybody loves it except for Justin. Daigo's parry at Evo against Justin being the greatest moment in Street Fighter history. Justin, go.
If you think about it, it is I would think it's the greatest fighting.
Oh man. I guess this question comes down to like your definition of the word greatest. I do think it is the most impactful moment in fighting game history, easily. I actually don't think it's close. There is no moment that has defined fighting games and fighting game culture and fighting it like what we stand for. Nothing embodies it more than moment 37. It just becomes a matter of like, is that your definition of greatest, or I think that might be different from person to person, depending on what they think greatest
Would
means.
we be here right now doing this face-off?
He's right. We would not be here
Right,
doing
because
this
a lot
face-off
of the
episode
things-
without that.
I mean, unfortunately, I have a lot of bad legacies where I get the meme, I get the moment 37, but in general, I think the moment 37 changed a lot of people's lives from like that era and even now. Even though I'm on the losing end, the fact that we have so many people coming up to like just first timers coming to tournaments. Hey, like I watched this moment and I wouldn't have gotten the fighting games if I didn't see this moment. Right? The fact that it also became the #1 esports moment of all time. Like something from a handy cam, like like America's, America's Home Funniest Videos, those giant like dad cams, like that was recorded by Seth Killian. And the fact that that moment in general was able to beat all these crazy League of Legends, Dota, Counter-Strike moments, just like this old 480p.
Bro, that's crazy.
Like, I think that's really tells you a lot about just like how important this moment is, how it changed my life, changed Daigo lives, and it changed everybody else that's pursued fighting games in general. So
We would likely
without
not
that
be here
moment,
right
and
now
then there are so many
without
more
this shit
amazing
happening.
moments out there.
And
But
again,
I
like
just
there's
don't
so many
see
things
what's stronger
in
than
fighting game
one
history
particular.
and fighting
What are
game
your thoughts?
community
Do you
that
feel
are
like
like
that's the
such
greatest fighting game
butterfly
ever?
effects, like small, like
feel that's
just
the
the
greatest
most
fighting game.
unlikely circumstances leading
And I
to
feel like
us
it's
getting to where we're at,
actually,
man. It's so
underappreciated.
crazy.
Because people don't
talk to
really
me.
understand how hard it is. It's something you will only see one time in your life. But I do want to shine some light into a mother moment, because I wasn't actually there. I just grew up watching it. But I feel like Evo 2017 Tokido versus
Oh,
Punk,
this
I
is a
do
great
feel if
moment.
Punk
Yeah.
had won, that
Yeah.
was the passing of the torch right there.
Oh, yeah.
I feel like the old generation versus new generation extended.
Oh man, that's a really good answer. That's a really, really good answer. Cause I think Tokido's statement after this tournament was done is maybe the most important fighting game quote of all time. He's like, so this is a good answer.
For
This is a really good
years,
answer.
Even now, just because Tokido won and the way he won.
All free.
Because
Yes, I am.
Street Fighter V came out, everybody's talking about the new games. Punk is destroying everybody.
Smoking people.
If Punk had beaten Tokido right there, that was it. I feel like the torch was going to be passed right there. And it's beautiful about how it happened, how the old generation was able to fight back and show us like everybody here gets to play. It's not only the younger ones.
Yep.
So that was like the most beautiful mother moment. No moment is going to top Evo moment 37. I feel
He's
like in this
man,
life, 'cause I
he's
just
spitting.
appreciate
Good on you,
what
man. That was a
happened,
really
right?
good answer.
But I do feel that one was the most important Street Fighter moment out of all these years.
Man, okay. I love the way you put that. I feel like, see, you guys are agreeing too much, so now I got to spice it up a little bit. Now, and this goes earlier back to what, kind of what you were saying. If we fast forward it or we rewind it and we put Prime Mena there, would Mena be Daigo in that instance or would he be Justin? Justin, go.
Would Mena be Daigo?
Would he be the one that parried, or would he be you in that instance, losing because he got parried? I hate to make you think about it like this, but you said, look, when we talk about Mena's victories, it's him smacking people. There's not much contention, but in this instance, that was like a fight to end all fights. You know what I'm saying? Do you think in that situation it would be him on the receiving end of that parry or him on the receiving end of that combo?
I actually believe Mena would parry everything because he is a perfect parry god.
He's
So
definitely
the fact
he's
that he
definitely
perfect
more of a
parries
Daigo
Street
than a
Fighter
Justin
6
Wong.
already, and also he thinks ahead of the game.
Yes.
So he probably also was like, oh, I know he's gonna want to chip me out.
Yeah.
So yeah, I truly believe that's like
Yeah,
he's
Mena's
not the
the
lane
right
player.
type of
He's
crazy to
flushed
be
that
like,
down.
I'm gonna
He's
go
the
for this
bull.
extremely
So there's
hard
the beast,
read
that's the bull.
that
So
will
I
lose me the
think
game
that
if I'm
he will
wrong,
also
but it's what's gonna
to
win me the
parry
game, so I'm gonna do it.
I mean, it's true. That's what I personally think. I personally think he will parry. Like if it was like if it was Punk, if I was talking to Punk, he would be the Chun-Li trying to chip him.
Punk would definitely be on the
because
Chun-Li
he's
side.
a more
Yeah.
defensive,
Mhm.
lame,
real.
neutral player.
Yep.
Oh, that
But
makes a lot
this
of sense.
MenaRD, aggressive, more rush down, thinking about the future, thinking about the offense.
He's
So,
willing to take
yeah,
bigger
and
risks
perfect parry
and
god,
get
so
higher
I have to give it to
rewards.
that.
Yeah, absolutely. Love that answer.
What can I say?
Look, I'm gonna agree with Justin. I feel like that's one of those things.
I agree too.
Look,
I will hold it up too.
I gotta agree. Look, and the way you broke it down, man, that makes a lot of sense. It plays to like just both of their different play styles and just how they play against each other and just how the game unfolds overall.
My man is getting
That
cooked.
is a good one. That is a good one. Yo, is this a staring contest? Oh, who blinked? Yo, staring contest right now. Do it. Oh, they doing it. Come on, what you wait? Why you break?
Why are you commentating, bro?
I'm a commentator. That's what I do. You know how we do in the FGC. Like, we have to have like small little quabbles to see who, where your mindset is. Who would win in an arm wrestling competition right now? Go.
Oh, I would lose.
You lose. Then you just go forfeit. You
Bro,
didn't
that's
even
the
try, bro.
that's the bull.
That is the
That
bull.
that is the bull.
That is the bull, though.
I will lose.
So you'll give him that victory.
Oh yeah, 100%.
Would you take that?
I'll take it. I'll
Okay,
take it.
all right. Well, if that's the
I
case,
got risks to take care of, you know. Like,
Yeah. I'm old.
Bro,
I'm
this
38,
is what they
right?
did, bro.
You know what I
you got
mean?
insurance. You got a baby.
He was getting cooked that bad day to give
All right,
him the
okay,
rest,
okay.
the
With that one,
arm
all right,
wrestling.
so
My
I'm
leg
gonna do
game
that
is
one.
better though. You know.
The leg game.
Oh,
My
shit.
calves is kind of nice.
Oh,
Actually.
Okay, Justin.
Yo, my calves. Next one is a race. Y'all ready right now? We just clear out the. No.
Okay, man.
Actually.
we can do it. We can do it. We definitely can do it right now. I'm down. I'm down.
No. We're gonna keep it civil, okay? We stick to the digital violence.
Okay.
All right? Let's move away from the battles. You guys are scooting closer and closer together. The table started to move. We knocked over signs. We need to take this a little lighter. All right. So, obviously, we've all had our story, our history in the fighting game community, right? And I feel like we all have seen our fair share of amazing things, right? But I want to know personally from both of you, what is the greatest achievement in fighting game history? MenaRD.
I will say
The greatest achievement in fighting
Greatest
game history. Okay, I'm gonna see what they say because I don't know how they're gonna attack this question.
it will definitely be the 8 Evos.
8 Evos?
Because I feel like
Okay.
it's just undisputable. There's nothing you can say about it. And everybody, all of the great players have like great titles and great matches that they did, but nobody has even come close to having 8 Evos. So I feel like, with all due respect, like it was his game. It was Prime Justin, the best in Marvel.
I would say like you could
But at the same
argue
time, it's not irrelevant.
Arslan
If
Ash.
you're able to do that in any game, then that's just too much. And
Arslan
that's
Ash like
that's the
winning
main argument of the people that think he is the GOAT.
winning
If I
so much
said
in a short
Justin
period
is
of
the GOAT,
time,
I have the 8
like
Evos
kind of
in my
having
head,
like the
and I
Grand
feel like
Slam.
not many players have something so big,
Bro, I can't. That's real right there. That's
Sonic
real right
has
there.
won Evo in
I know
3
you
franchises, I
just
think.
came from battling
That's
each other and
pretty.
giving you mad praise. But
That's
I got a
pretty up there.
follow-up after this. But what is the greatest achievement in fighting game history? You got a lot of them under your belts too. So whichever one you choose, I just want to hear the story. I want to know.
Man, I feel like the greatest fighting game accomplishment.
This is a difficult one.
I really think it's hard, but okay, for me, it's.
There you go.
I appreciate the compliment from MenaRD, but I'm gonna go away from that. I think it's for me, it's 2008.
Okay.
John Choi winning Street Fighter 2 Super Turbo.
Okay.
And
Choi
Seaga's 2 in the
Choi
same year.
is a
So he
fucking
won
god,
two
and he's still
Evos.
active too. He still
Crazy.
plays.
He won 2 Street Fighter Evos in the same year, and he beat
John Choi,
He beat
that dude is
and
different.
he beat
That
Boss
dude is real
in
different.
CS2 grand final. So he won 2 Evos.
John Choi.
Won 2
Choi, the
Evos.
fireball
That's
god.
the last time NA has ever won Street Fighter. No, like USA has ever won Street Fighter at Evo. So I think that's personally the greatest.
John
fighting
Choi, man.
accomplishment. And not a lot of people talk about that.
Yeah.
He's the only player that has won 2 Evos.
2 Evos in 1 year.
in
Yeah.
1 year.
Yep.
Yeah, that's. I mean,
Sonic
like,
Fox was really
is that
close.
even, like, can we run that back? Is that
Sonic
gonna
was
be-
close to winning MK and Dragon Ball
Man,
in the
I
same
love
year
that
in
it started
2019,
off
but
with,
he
like,
didn't win.
praise, But I also like the fact that like Justin was like, "Yo, you can take me like out of the equation, and like there's still things that exist out of that." So I'm sorry, I gotta go against you one more time.
No, it's okay.
But,
I didn't even know.
like, no, for real, dog. John Choi, look, I'm gonna tell you right now. To this day, bro.
John
I'm still
Choi,
online
bro.
playing fighting games and mystifying people with how well he can throw a fireball. People still don't.
I got to
believe
meet
he
him
was
for the
walking
first
forward,
time
like,
at
he
this past
really don't even
Evo.
get it.
Dude is
John Choi
actually
legend out there.
The year
straight
before
up
I won the second
legendary.
Capcom Cup, he gave me some advice because I asked him about fireballs.
Items SF5
Yeah,
run.
I'm telling you, bro. We can write a
He's a
book about
legend, bro.
fireballs. He can write a
No,
book.
because
Shout out
he
to
didn't
John
win.
Choi. Shout out to John Choi.
It's a really good run.
Let's talk about, and this
But he
still
didn't
goes
win.
to the old school versus the new school. Older tournaments versus newer tournaments. With everything that we've just put on the table, the fact that you can go on the internet and see it, the fact that you can go and look at people's replays, the fact that you can easily go to upload and reload tournaments and go to YouTube, the whole nine. Do you feel like older tournaments are harder? Because
Now,
obviously
this
I was
is a
with you
question.
watching the fact that this was popping up in the back of a magazine. I only knew people by name, not gameplay. But this is a little different for us now. Literally, we can just turn on. You can go to Twitter. I can open my phone and see tech. Do you feel like tournaments?
This
now
is a
reflect the fact
nuanced
that it's
conversation.
easier to
I
be
wonder if
better
one of them
at
is gonna
fighting
hit the
games
nail on
now,
the head
based
here.
off your opinion.
I believe tournaments are more difficult now. And The good thing about tournaments is not like skill, it's just facts, it's numbers. Do you feel the culture regarding fighting games have changed a lot in Japan, or is it the same? Like they just keep playing fighting games?
I feel like the changes that they use, it's made them better because they've made a stronger community.
They're
off
actually
of it.
better now, right?
Yeah, they are because
So,
they made it a community.
Listen to this, because they're actually better now. Back then, you dropped one Japanese, he won the tournament right away. Here we have 50, 60 Japanese, they're losing. So that's just facts, it's just numbers.
So you're saying with that alone, just the fact that we have so many international players, especially on the Japanese side of things, specifically for Street Fighter, that should tell you that fighting games now are a lot harder because of that.
Okay,
It's facts
let's see what
because
Justin
you
says.
remember, like, for example, and I see, I respect, because of the times, what happened.
Yeah.
Back then, you had Daigo, you had his manager that made top 16 because, and you had, like, his coach also made top 16. But Daigo will win the tournament. And if somebody put up some fight, took a game or two, that's it. But if I come to Evo right now, I lose to Daigo, is it an upset or not? That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying.
I think that's a good point. But no, I'm going to come to you on this
Yeah,
side.
let-
I'm dying to talk. Right.
I appreciate you holding yourself. You know what I'm saying? Being respectful.
I've been dying to talk. So 100%, I think the Japanese fighting game community is worse now.
Oh.
Because you know why? Let me tell you something.
Oh, okay.
Let me tell you something.
wait, no.
Evo Japan,
Okay.
the one that MenaRD won. Congratulations, by the way. You're a champion. You know what I mean?
what a legend,
You
what a
are
god.
a champion.
I see you,
But
a legend.
But you're not gonna tell me those pools were not the most freest pools in the freaking world. Those pools were so easy. I had friends that I'm like, I don't even play this game, and they got out of pools at Evo Japan. So based off of that, when you think about it, and I lived in both ends of the spectrum, right? Seeing the Street Fighter 6 player playing ranked matches, any top international player will go to Japan and they'll get the #1 CFN spot because the points there are free, easy to get, right? So one, easier to play currently, and the Japanese FGC community is much weaker because back in the day, when you think about Third Strike, when you think about CVS2, when you think about ST, nobody in the world,
air in Japan.
yeah, no other country in the world can beat them in those respective games, and that still holds true up to this day.
That's
Even
true.
if the community, currently the community, right, has grown so much online for the older games. More than now, Third Strike at Evo is the most entrants ever in Evo.
Okay.
But you know what? Ultimately, in the end, Japan is going to dominate.
What are your thoughts about what Justin just said?
So,
This is so
first, with all
interesting.
respect to the legend right
That
here,
the fact that they even attack this
assuming
question
a lot.
in this
He's
way is
saying,
so
they get
fascinating to
#1
me.
in CFN. It doesn't mean they're playing the best of the best in Japan, right?
That's true.
So usually I see the best players in the world go to Japan. They actually get cooked. I see it. Japan is the strongest region in the world right now. Even if they're losing most of the events, that tells you a lot of how strong they are. And another thing is, and this is the main argument I'm gonna tell you, and this is why I believe facts. You're telling me Japan is weaker right now. Every single world title I've won, if in Japan or Asia, I haven't seen the Americans at the finals. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. So if they were as weak as Justin is saying, why am I meeting them every single time at nighttime, at Sunday, every single time?
I gotta give somebody the argument. And look, I'm of the old school with Justin, but I gotta give it to Mena on this one. I'm looking at these tournaments and I'm seeing Japanese players still come out and do work, regardless if they're not winning. So when you said that, that's when I was like, oh, he's looking at this. Even if
So this is interesting because, like, the question does not necessitate that you use the Japanese player base as the frame of reference. But despite that, both of them have chosen to use the Japanese player base as kind of the metric that they use to evaluate whether tournaments are easier or harder. When I don't think that it might just be done for entertainment value or whatever, but like that does not tell us like really anything. Like it's a very tunnel visioned way to look at this question if you're like trying to be even remotely objective. So the main things with this question are do some of the conveniences of fighting games nowadays outweigh how difficult it is to compete in tournament, right? So for example, fighting games nowadays, right? If you ask a lot of people like, are fighting games nowadays, are they easier or harder than previous games? a lot, probably most people will tell you that fighting games are quote unquote more accessible, right? They're more accessible, or they have lower execution requirement, for better or for worse, right? That being said, right, because of that, in some ways that makes tournaments harder because more people get to participate, right? More people are playing, and the kind of the landscape of the community behind like content, right? Like if you want to learn the game, you can pop on YouTube and watch a guide. They didn't have that back then. They didn't have that. They didn't have streamers to watch. They didn't have good online, right? They didn't have all that. They didn't have that environment that allowed for people to get stronger faster, right? That's the world that we live in now. You can get stronger much faster because netcode is good, and you have the content, you have the footage, and you have replays, and you have replay takeover, and you can go back and you can grind and grind and grind, even if you don't have a local scene, right? And that does make it, it does make it, like in some ways it makes it easier, right? It makes it easier because you have those things to help you along the way, right? But at the same time, it makes it more difficult because more people are doing it, right? More people are doing just that. And so tournaments are bigger than ever. More people are competing than ever. We're breaking records with Evo year in and year out. And so it comes down to whether you like, what do you think that it breaks that tipping point? Does it force it into a situation where you think that, you know, there's so many more people that it makes it more difficult, or do these conveniences make it overall easier? And like, it's hard. It's like really hard to say, man. I think it's really difficult. I don't think using Japan alone is a good thing to do with a question like this. I would be inclined to say that tournaments, like the question itself like kind of lacks nuance, right? Like saying like, are tournaments easier or harder now? Like there's not real benefit to like designating, oh, it's easier now or it's harder now, or that it like doesn't mean anything. But I would say that like modern fighting games have a shit ton of convenience that were not even remotely thought of back then. And so like that environment of not having all the things that we have today, and not having good netcode, and like not being able to access player VODs, and not even getting to fight some of the scariest players in the game until you were there in tournament, right? Nowadays, like you can play international players from home. You can do that, right? People were traveling less as well. People were traveling less back then because there was less diverse of a tournament infrastructure. There were just less events. There's more events than ever now. You might just be able to pull up and play Daigo next weekend, right? Because people are traveling more, because the scene supports that better. And I think those are the questions that make this those are the things that like make this question much harder than just trying to break it down to, oh, the games are easier or harder or this or that. Like I don't know. There's a lot to it. There's really a lot to it.
The fact is, they come out and they are
More
holding up
regions than
every
ever
pro
also
that
playing
there is.
games.
There is not a
Right.
tournament
Before
you
there
go
were
to
regions that
if
never
you're
got to
going-
participate.
Even if you go to Europe, you're gonna be like, yo,
Yeah.
is there any Japanese players there? That's who you're looking for. Justin, I trust me, I'm right there. I feel you, but we got to move on. We've talked about games getting easier. We've talked about the fact that you know it's easier to see any person's resources and replays. But let's talk about that modern aspect of it. Do you guys believe in the next 5 years that arcade stick will be obsolete? Justin, go.
I love arcade sticks. You know, I still use arcade sticks to this day.
Obsolete?
I can use pad. I can use leverless controllers as well too. It's just
I don't like the
I don't
word
think it's gonna be
obsolete.
obsolete.
Yeah, I don't think so either.
Leverless controllers are really good for Street Fighter games, but for Marvel games or like fast-paced games, air dashing games, I think ultimately joysticks is the better controller for them in general. I think pad can play on everything. Pad is definitely the controller that can play everything. If there are more collections coming back, like the Marvel 2 collection, then stick will always reign supreme, because I do think pad and leverless are actually trash on older games, because
I kind of agree with that.
yeah, because modern games have easier inputs. That's why leverless controllers and pads exist. But older games with more like just like restricted inputs and everything, kind of more delicate, and you have to be frame perfect, joysticks is always always going to be the better option. So if
That's
there is
interesting.
maybe a Capcom collection for CVS coming back or a Third Strike revival, joystick all the way. No matter what, I don't see any other controller replacing the top players in the top meta in the older game.
And you are a championship controller user. You talked. I love to hear how you would respond to this because obviously I feel like you're right there in that spot where it's like there's a lot of leverless talk. Like I feel like I see more leverless than I do regular arcade sticks these days. What are your thoughts on it?
I do feel it all depends on where the games actually go. So if they have like simplified inputs like modern, or I don't know if you've seen like the down inputs for the DP in Street Fighter 6, then I do feel arcade stick is gonna become a little bit rare to see. It's never gonna be obsolete because of
obsolete.
the
I
history,
think
you know?
I don't think
Saying,
they'll.
like,
I don't
retro
think
games, you
fight
can
sticks will
always go
ever
back
go
and play
away.
them. But I do feel if the inputs keep going that way, the way they're heading right now, then there's no reason to not play.
I also think that
keyboard
there's
and
certain
even if, like, I
games,
still
there's certain
have,
game archetypes that
I
lend
do believe
themselves
we might
towards certain
move
controllers
away
more
from
than
buttons.
others.
Like that's sadly the
Just gonna
future.
connect our
Yeah,
brains.
Like I think
maybe
Tekken
maybe
is
like
still
cell
very
phone,
much a stick
yeah,
game.
So everybody is like trying out like cell phone games and all of that. And when the time comes, I'm gonna be one of the ones like this is not a real fighting game, you know. But I think it's inevitable. I think it's gonna happen with the simplified inputs. So yeah, I do feel there's gonna be a moment where seeing an arcade stick is gonna be like, wow, you know, you still have one of those.
All right, so with that being said, I am a man of the old school heart, right? And I really have to say, I gotta be real, Justin. I 100% agree with you, bro. Like, for me, like, I'm an old school arcade rat. Like, that's where I started. I do feel like it's nostalgia, don't get me wrong. And I see where it will become a thing of dinosaurs, but also, I feel like that will be the pure. Like, I feel like that will be the purest. And I don't think it's a bad thing either or, in all honesty. I love seeing arcade sticks. I get nostalgia. I'm like, my man's rocking a Moss stick over there. Or he's rocking a, you know, I love seeing that. Hitting the deck will never not be something that's nostalgic to me, but I agree with you, Justin. You got me on this one. Justin, you'll have some expertise in this, but I would love to hear your opinion. I'm going to start with Mena. So old school arcade players are better than modern players. Talk to me.
Yes.
This is such an inflammatory question. Like, why would you ask this question? This question is purely inflammatory, bro. Like, who the fuck is the
Yo, clean, simple, yes?
Yes, because I've fought them both.
Yeah.
And I've seen the new players, like what they're doing, the young players, even my generation. And the focus is all about abusing the mechanics, having the reactions ready. The old players, you can tell when you fight them, the focus was fundamentals, neutral.
He's right though. Man, it's not their fault though. That's the problem. Like this question makes it seem like it's like intrinsic or like it's someone's fault that it's this way. But with those conveniences that we were talking about, right? It allows for people that focus on the purely executional aspect of fighting games to forego like some of the fundamental building blocks. And we see that time and time again. Like even at relatively decent levels, there are always people that like they have godlike punish games. Like I think Gear is the one that comes to mind most. Like Strive, there are plenty of players that like if they hit you, you are going to die. They're going to hit the hardest combo with the most fucked spacing, with the frame one length. Like they are going to kill you, but they have a really hard time hitting you. They have a hard time hitting you because they don't know how to play neutral, right? And they never built those fundamental building blocks of, I need to learn how to actually like understand fighting games. I think there's less of an emphasis on understanding the art of fighting games nowadays because there are so many options and also because damage in games nowadays is super high, right? Back in the day, like when we start talking about like a CVS 2 or a Marvel 2 with a few exceptions and like some of the older more heralded games, right? Games were longer generally. And so the longer you have to play a game, the more consistent you have to be as a player, right? You have to outplay your opponent more times in a game to win because games just last longer. CVS 2 is a perfect example of that. You can't win at CVS 2 without being a strong fundamental fighting game player because games are so long and damage is generally pretty low. And so Like overall, the better player, the better player is going to win more often. The better overall player is going to win more often because you're playing more interactions, right? You're playing more and more and more interactions. And as you play more and more and more interactions, it becomes a more consistent game because the better player will win more on average, right? Nowadays, because damage is so high in certain games, there are less points of interactions. Sometimes in rounds, you lose in 2 interactions. Like honestly, that happens pretty often in modern fighting games. Even in the lower damage games nowadays, you still can die in 2 interactions, right? And so does it take that much fundamental skill to get those 2 hits? Not more, not usually, right? Like sometimes the 2 hits that you get are not that crazy. Like they're they're pretty they can be pretty seemingly inconsequential. So I do agree with this. But like I said, I don't think it's their fault. I think it's a question of design, and I think it's a question of focus as well. Like I don't think there's many people nowadays that are really pushing for people to like grind those fundamentals. I mean, I'm like one of the few people that does really hammer that home, but like the average modern fighting game fan is not focusing on that, even though I think that they should. But you know, it is what it is. It is what it is.
And you, as soon as I fight an old player,
Hopefully-
I have a hard time. 'Cause I
Hopefully
know,
we
like,
go
I
back
really
towards
have
the
to
other
focus
direction
and not whiff it,
as
and
time
not
goes
walking
on.
too much,
Will
and
that
not giving
happen?
a
I
pattern that you
don't
can
know.
recognize.
It was like-
So I don't know. I feel like young players are better at like playing faster and reactions and all of that. But overall, I'm going with the arcade players for sure.
Justin, give me your expertise, sir.
How am I supposed to argue about that? You know what I mean? How am I supposed to argue about it? Like he mentioned it on Twitter recently. How about how like old school players just have a stronger mindset than most newer players. And I mean, he's right about newer players having.
Oh
you know,
my
they play
God.
faster.
Let's talk about this. Oh my God. This is such a good point. It is such a good point, right? Today in fighting games, right? In modern fighting games, we have more options and more choice than forever. Also, this meta face is funny as shit. More options and more choice than ever. And so one thing that I've always stressed to people, right, is about offloading accountability, right? When something goes wrong in the fighting game, right, a lot of people's first reaction is to find something to act as a scapegoat, right? We need to justify why this happened. And very few times is that justification coming from within. There's like little to no internalization. And so nowadays in fighting games, you run into a lot of people that pick up a game and they're not immediately strong at it. And so they just go to the next game, right? They just move on to the next game. They say, well, see me in this game. Well, see me in this game. Nah, I'm off that game. I'm on this one. It's because they're so used to that nowadays you can just do that, right? You have so many options of fighting games to play. You never have to sit and grind one for any amount of time, right? And I think back then there were way fewer choices. And so like that was it. If you liked fighting games, this might have been the only game that you fucking had to play. That might have been it. That might have been literally your only option, depending on what people around you are playing and what events are available and this that, right? Like you just didn't have choice, right? Nowadays you have all the choice. Every game has good netcode, right? You can just pick up and play pretty much any game, and so like you can really gaslight yourself into thinking that you are not the problem. You can really convince yourself that the problem is with the games themselves and not you yourself, and continually bounce around games. And there are people that are probably listening to me right now that I might be talking about you. I might be talking about you with this. And if I am, I urge you to forego this really shitty mentality, because you're not doing yourselves any favors, right? Nothing is going to change for you unless you actually take that accountability. It's just how it goes.
Faster reaction time and everything, because the modern fighting games are really all about the faster reaction times. But I think there's something with the old school fighting game players where there's a lot of instinct in their heart when they play.
Any chance you can answer my question? Yeah, bro, sure. Would you argue that in modern times someone can win with fundamentals against optimization? What? Of course. I mean, that's not really an argument, right? People, there are old school fighting game players that are still winning today. Right? Like you're a Tekken player. right? Think about how many people that exist in the top end of Tekken 8 are legacy players. Almost all of them, right? Like literally, almost all of them. And that's because it's a fundamental thing, right? You need strong Tekken fundamentals to compete at the highest level, right? Almost like I cannot think of a top Tekken player that's not a legacy player. Like they all and that's just how it is. That's just how it is. So yeah, like it definitely can win, because like one is easier to learn than the other, right? Anyone that has strong fundamentals can learn optimization pretty quickly. Like honestly, anyone can learn a combo. That's the thing. Anyone in fighting games can learn a combo or a route. You can just practice that shit in training mode until you have that shit down pat, right? We as humans are able to do that. The other way around is much harder. You can have all the optimization in the world, but if your fundamentals are not good, it becomes a question of why is this not working out for me? What is lacking in my gameplay that is leading me to lose matches? Because if you're killing people off of every hit, but you're never hitting someone, you're not gonna win, right? If you're shitty on defense, you don't know how to defend anything, and so your opponent is also getting a hit every time, you're not gonna win, right? And so I think it's easier to go from having fundamentals and then optimizing than having the optimization and then grinding fundamentals. It's just one is a building block and one isn't. That's just a given.
Play is not just frame data. And I think the new school players, they rely too much on the frame data.
They need the numbers.
Yeah, so they don't have like the heart of like taking the read, making the right decision, making all these different interesting scenarios happen.
Yo, thank you for the tier 1, bro. Appreciate it. Happy September.
So I think old school players are better in terms of that regards, but newer players are better at executing what the game is supposed to tell you how to play the game.
Yeah, they're definitely, and what I was gonna say was they're definitely better at like abusing the system.
Yes. Modern players are so good at abusing systems, because like that's just kind of the way fighting games are like built nowadays, right? Like some mechanics are like very centralizing, and they're very, 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 very strong. And so like leveraging that, like modern players are really good at recognizing, oh, this shit is broken, so I'm spamming that move. I'm doing that thing, and I'm gonna do that shit until something happens. No, he's definitely right. He's definitely right in that regard.
Rather than the fundamental side that was initially there. All right, hold on. We gotta, and like I said, I have to agree with my bro Mena, and obviously you already agree with him as well. I love the fact that you are from like the newer era and you have that understanding. That's one of the reasons I really resonate with you, because I can talk to you about stuff like this, and you understand like that there's a lot of moving pieces to it. It's not saying 100% is set in stone. Everybody has their own opinion, but I'm glad to see that there is a general consensus among some of the people that share the same mentality. So that's a good part there. Here we go. This is a real-time matchup instance right now. Okay, Justin, hit me with the heart meme real quick. Complete the heart meme. Boom. Oh, that's history right there. I like how he was like. It was like the superpowers connected right there. That was beautiful. We need to get that in slow-mo. That's what we need to do. Now, we're going a little bit overtime, a little bit off script, because, look, we talked about the topics that are always talked about on the Twitters and the X's. So now, I want to ask two of the GOATs, who do they believe is going to be on a Street Fighter fighting game?
Oh, my God. This is impossible.
We're going to let each one of them choose one, and we're going to go back and forth. And
okay.
I'm going to start with MenaRD.
Well, for sure, my first pick is definitely Daigo Mihara, you know?
I don't think that there's any real argument against Daigo being, like, if you were to really like legitimately try to make a Street Fighter Rushmore, I don't think there's any legitimate argument against Daigo being on there. Not only for his results in his tenure, but like just impact, man. He is just like, he is the Street Fighter player. You just can't argue that. He's simply the Street Fighter player.
Daigo
Mihara. He's definitely gonna be there.
Okay. Daigo for Mena. Justin, who we got next to Daigo?
Oh, this is hard.
On the fighting game Mount Rushmore is.
This is difficult.
Takedo,
yeah.
My GOAT. My GOAT of all
time
for Street Fighter, Tokido.
Yeah, wins in multiple era.
Tokido number 2.
Still winning today.
Daigo for Mena. Tokido for Justin. Number 3 on the fighting game Mount Rushmore. You're gonna.
Oh fuck, man. This is hard. This is difficult, man. You could argue Ryan Hart is on here. You could argue Justin Wong is on here. You could argue Kazunoko is on here. Mago, Fudo, Nuki, MOV, I think probably has a really, really good argument too. This is so hard, man. There's way too many godlike Street Fighter players throughout history to limit to 4. It is so tough. That is so hard, man.
Take your children to see this.
I'll go with this. He didn't play 4. He didn't like it. That's the issue, right? That's the main thing. But I feel because of his dominance in Third Strike and also how good he was in Turbo, I would put Onuki there.
Onuki.
That's
Okay.
how I feel.
Okay.
I feel like he
Next to
just dominated
Tokido.
too much. Yeah, I think so.
Justin turning his head, adjusting his body in his seat. Onuki next to Tokido, who is next to Daigo. The last person on the fighting game Mount Rushmore is Justin.
I have to go with my favorite fighting game player of all time. It has to be Momochi.
Momochi. Okay.
Momochi to round it off.
Momochi, bro.
So just all Japan.
All
That's where we
Japan.
at?
The thing is, I think Street Fighter is just so much.
I mean, it
Because
makes
there's so much
sense.
history, so much
But-
games, and I think that there are obviously a lot of strong players from different regions. But maybe if it's like Street Fighter 7 or Street Fighter 8, then we can include more internationals. That's just my personal opinion. But from the results that they did in SBO,
Nah, Justin's a pretty humble guy. I don't think he would ever put himself there. Even though I think if I were making a Rushmore, I think he probably would be on it for Street Fighter. It's close though. It's close because I don't think he ever won. I don't think he ever won outside of Third Strike. I think it's hard. That's difficult.
I'll be honest, I'm surprised on Nuki one. That's a big surprise for me, because I don't think I would put Nuki up there, me personally.
Okay, look. That's why we did the 1-in-1. That's why we did the 1-in-1 Well, now that we've got
I wish they
all
would've-
our questions here
I
on
wish
the
we coulda
face-off,
gotten
it's
their
only
full
right I
fours.
have to designate one
I
winner.
want to see both of their full 4 Mount Rushmores.
And the winner of FGC Face-Off is
These guys are just.
Justin Wong. A lot of great points made between both of these legends, these contenders. But look, we can only have one winner, and both of them made a lot of great points between the two. And I agree with them on a lot, but we can only have one winner. And
I
that
hope they
is
actually do
Justin Wong.
the fighting game gauntlet
Everybody
thing they were
watching,
talking
be
about.
sure to like and subscribe. And if you want to see more content like this, check out our other videos on PlayStation Esports.
It's a good video. It's a good video. Yeah, it's about time that Sony actually did some good fighting game content. Most of the time, they have been kind of offloading a lot of that responsibility onto Evo, because obviously they own the Evo brand. So Evo's been actually ramping up a lot of their fighting game content efforts and stuff. But it's good to see it come from them themselves. Because I assume that these guys got a pretty decent bag to do that shit too, which is always good.